record them. Okay, so for this week, there were, three topics. One is critical perspectives on international political economy, and the other one is the realistic perspective on international political economy, and the other is monetary relations. Uh, Generally, when you look at international political economy, when you study the topic, there are three perspectives that people um, uh, you know um, express, and three perspectives from which policy is made. There's the liberal perspective, and then there is the realistic perspective. Now, the critical perspective essentially, criticizes the other two perspectives in the sense that they feel there's something inadequate about them, there is something missing about them, and so we call it the critical perspectives. Okay. So then the realistic perspective is based on a mercantilist view and also on what we call the conservative perspective, which is that in any kind of a relationship in international political economy, the government should actually intervene to ensure essentially the dominance of the powerful countries. And so they simply feel that in any kind of economic relationship between any two entities, the one entity has to dominate, okay? And so to maintain stability in the system, one entity has to dominate, and one entity will dominate because working in an economic system where there are two participants or more, that is a zero-sum game. Your gain is my loss, and my loss is your gain, and there's no other way. The liberal perspective believes that cooperation is superior to competition, and so that through cooperation there will be a win-win situation, a win-win in the sense that if there's cooperation, then what's going to happen is that each side in an economic collaboration will sort of contribute its best, and everybody will end up gaining. And so there is no zero-sum game as such. There's no zero-sum game in the sense that cooperation is better than competition. And of course, I mean, there can be healthy competition, where each side is trying to do its best, and then we realize at the end, where I do the best and you do your best, and the outcome is going to be a situation where everybody gets to gain. Now, the critical perspective, on the other hand, simply feels that whatever is going on in international political economy benefits a ruling class. And so they believe that there is the exploiting class in every country. And the problem with developing countries is that the exploiting classes, the ruling classes of developing countries, simply collaborate with the ruling classes of the industrial countries. And what happens is exploitation of the developing country by the developed country, using the ruling classes of developing countries. As you can see, for example, in Nigeria today, there is this whole idea. You can see, for example, in Nigeria today, there's this complaint about reducing the cost of governance, and that those in power, whether they're legislature or they are top officers of governments, simply living very well. The rest is not living well, and the rest are living in poverty. But then the point is that those people who are in the political class or top civil servants, they essentially help the ruling establishments of developed countries to exploit the resources of developing countries, and they themselves essentially get part of the graft and enjoy a good life, even though they are living in developing countries, while the rest of people are living in poverty. and then transferring the wealth of developing countries to the ruling classes of the developed countries. And so this is essentially their perspective. I am not saying that any of these perspectives is correct to the exclusion of the other perspectives, but these are the perspectives that inform policies, that inform analysis, that inform the debate or discussion about how to ensure that everybody is able to live comfortably. So this is what those perspectives talk about. Then, of course, the last topic for this week is about international monetary relations, and so we should read up on the relationships and how the international monetary system works between the IMF and the World Bank. Those are the two main institutions that drive international monetary and economic relationships. The International Monetary Fund essentially, is a clearinghouse for international finance, while the World Bank is where that provides assistance in long-term development. And there are two different things. Now, when countries have foreign exchange issues, when they have foreign reserve issues, they go to the International Monetary Fund and seek assistance for money. While the World Bank essentially assists developing countries, for the most part, to establish long-term projects, which enable them to establish the potential for long-term economic development. And so it should differentiate the two. So this is essentially, what I wanted to summarize for you. But if you have any questions, please bring them up. Kingsley, you promised me that, the other person is no longer here. You promised me that you're going to catch up. So what do you plan to do? You want to go back and read up on the first week and the second week and just walk at your own pace. Let's work together. If this time is not convenient for you, give me a more convenient time, and then I will work with you from the beginning. So respond to me.
Okay, sir. So, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. So, due to the ongoing protest and the network issue, it has really affected the pace of my work. But basically, what I've done is I've downloaded every material for the week one, and I'm 90% done with it. So I should be done in a couple of hours.
Okay. So
So
have you submitted any work?
no, I'm still reading. So by midnight today, midnight Nigerian time, I should do my submission. So I'm still going. I'm reading it offline, not on the learning system.
Okay. Okay, fine and good. I appreciate that. Like I said, you say you've just finished week one. Like I said, I will keep working with you all the way through to the end of December, at your own pace. So at least submit week one now, and when you're ready for week two, submit it. Keep in touch with me by email, by telephone, and then, like I said, if you want to set up a Zoom session to have a discussion about any of the weeks. So now you have started week one. We can, discuss it if you want, or at least submit some work. Then I'll give you some feedback. Okay. So whenever you get done, even if it's in November, if it's in December, if it's in October, then I'll simply issue a report about your completion. Is that okay?
All right, that's okay with me. So for the discussion, I think I had more understanding on the hegemony theory, talking about the dominance, which you explain, and which is very much relatable regarding the regional economy which Nigeria is playing in that space, the cultural hegemony, and the monetary economy which the US is dominating. So I also went to the international political economy, where I talked about the international finance, globalization, the activities of the multinational corporations and transnational enterprises, um, and some of the relevant theories to international political economy. So, and talking about the effect of the 1930 Great Depression and 2008 financial crisis due to house mortgage crisis in the US, and down to um, um, the, the the Bretton Woods system, and talking about different views, different perspective of how the Bretton Woods system broken the has broken the embargo between international politics and international economics, and also um, the hello.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I was hearing some sound. I don't know where it came from.
Yeah, I just the call that came in. So so still under the international still, so
Okay.
still under the international
Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, so still under the international political economy, talking about how it has broken the boundaries between, especially from the academic perspective. All right. So talking about um, um, the international trade, international finance, the North-South relation, and which we also talk about the southern importance in international economy in terms of the population, and in terms of their crawling development. And there's a need to there's a need to close that gap. They need to close that gap, and that is where international policy and international economics is coming in, and that's where the World Trade Forum, the World, the the World Trade Organization, and the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank, and that is where they come in, and also talking about um, talking about the OPEC, the activities of the OPEC, and how it has played a big role in international politics, and how it has become a tool, that has helped to give a certain level of economic dominance to some countries, to give economic relevance to
Yeah, let's the World Trade Organization as again uh, during the first week, we talked about the institutions that drive international economic activity.
clearly.
The World Trade Organization is really an organization that is set up to resolve disputes.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
between nations. Because one thing about the international political economy is that international political economy essentially challenges theory. Okay, first of all, everybody, most theorists agree, and this is liberal theorists. Liberal theorists agree that uh, uh, there's something called comparative advantage. And so if nations trade, people produce what they produce best and sell their surplus. This is the way it is supposed to be. And if it is done that way, then everybody gains from trade. Okay. But while everybody gains from trade, there's always an internal aspect of economics. Let us take, for example, United States. United States is a country that produces a lot of beef. Okay. But before the early early part of the 20th century, the major source of beef in Americas was Argentina. And Argentina still produces a lot of beef and exports that beef to America, United States. So the question then becomes, internally, American farmers will, complain that Argentina beef competes against their beef, and so does not essentially diminishes their profit. Now, but there are issues with trying to prevent Argentina beef from entering America. The consumer of beef, for example, would want Argentina beef to be imported into America because it reduces the price of beef and the cost of living. The American farmer feels that Argentina beef comes in and reduces prices, and therefore they have to compete price-wise with Argentina beef. And so there is that conflict, the conflict between the consumer who wants less expensive goods and the internal person who wants the internal farmers who want the price of beef to be high. And so here, the realistic theorists, or that is people in America who believe in the realistic concept of trade, will try to keep American Argentina beef out. Okay, so this is where realism comes. Okay, because if you bring Argentina beef, beef becomes less expensive. The consumer wants the less expensive beef. Okay, just a minute. The consumer wants the less expensive product, but those who work in American beef industry will say, no, you cannot let Argentina beef come in. And so there is a conflict. This is why now politics and economics come in. Another good example will be automobiles. American manufacturers of automobiles really constantly complain against Japanese imports of automobiles. But America exports automobiles and also imports automobiles. So realists, the mercantilists would want no imports of automobiles into America, because then the workers internally who work in American automobile manufacturing, they want a higher pay, okay, because there is more business for them, in the sense that if you don't import Japanese cars, if you don't import European cars, then more American cars will be produced and sold, and more people will be employed in the automobile industry, okay? Now, and so you try to impose duties and costs on imported cars so that imported cars become more expensive and American workers have more money. But here is a political conflict here. Remember, I have talked about beef. The American automobile industry worker wants cheap beef. So they don't want Argentina beef. I'm sorry. The American worker who is in the automobile industry wants cheap beef. So they want the Argentina beef to come in so that their beef will be less expensive. But they don't want Japanese cars coming in because Japanese cars compete with them. Do you get the idea? So internally, there's conflict even within labor. The American worker in the American labor person in the automobile industry already has conflict with the farmer in America who does not want Argentina beef. So even internally among consumers, we have problems, okay? We have problems. You don't want, whatever industry you are working in, you don't want goods imported from outside in that industry because you want more jobs. You want a higher pay. However, you want something cheaper from another person's industry. So even within labor itself, there is conflict. This is why we talk about political economy. And so there is a lot of dynamics in international political economy where even within constituencies in any country, there is conflict. Not to talk about conflict between nations, okay? Because we don't want imported automobiles. And so we want to impose duties. Now, if you impose duties on Japanese automobiles, Japanese will impose duties on whatever you export to Japan. And so so over time, there have been negotiations between nations on how to ease the problems and conflicts of international trade. And so this is why the World Trade Organization was set up, so that whatever agreements that are reached among nations, those agreements are kept, okay? If you really want trade, then those areas where you have a competitive advantage, we allow you to produce there and ease the process of exporting your goods to other countries, so that we can facilitate trade among nations. And so this is essentially what the first week was talking about. Okay. So what I suggest to you is, please at least introduce yourself. This is number one. You have not even introduced yourself. That does not require any reading. Okay, introduce yourself and then begin to submit your work in that first week. And also, there are multiple choice questions. So again, I will go and make sure that they are all open, so that you can go and complete the multiple choice questions in module 1 and module 2 of week 1, or even the entire week 1. Please try to do all of that work.
All right, sir. I will do that. I'll do that. I'm only trying to make sure that I digest all the materials very well, so I'll have a broad understanding of what the topic is all about.
Okay, please do, so that we can move on. Okay, everything is still open. Quiz is still open. All right. Assignments are still open.
Okay, so no problem, sir. So I will continue I will try to increase my pace, so that I will be able to meet up and get this done faster, and attend to every other thing else I need done.
Okay. Like I said, go ahead and do at your own pace. But at least let me, make me a promise that by the end of tomorrow, you should at least introduce yourself and do 2 of the quizzes, or at least 1 of the quizzes, and participate in the discussion. Just enter the discussion for the UNDP group. It doesn't really matter. Once you enter your answer to the discussion, then I would take what you have done as completing the work. All right. And like I said, if you want to talk with me, send me an email. I can set up a Zoom meeting with you anytime. All right. Okay. That's it for today. So do you have any other questions?
No, nothing else. By tonight, I'll make sure that I do the basic things that needs to be done.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you very, very much.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, then. Bye.